We're going to come out of closed session and move into a general board meeting. And County Attorney, help us.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the board needs a motion to certify the following statement. To the best of the members' knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted in the motion by which the closed session was called was considered or discussed in the closed session.
So moved. Second.
Motion has been made by Mr. Jesse and seconded by Mr. Crittenden. Roll call, please.
Mr. Williams? Mr. Bill Harris?
Wait, just
Yes.
Mr. Crittenden?
Yes.
Mr. Jesse?
Yes.
Mr. Don Harris?
yes. We are now moved back into our regular board meeting. And let's see where we are here. All right. I'll open the floor for for the public hearing. Doesn't appear we have anybody that's going to speak to that. So I'm going to close the public hearing. And now we have a discussion from Mr. Kretz.
I'll try to be brief tonight.
Okay.
Get us through this. I just want to, I have a couple slides that just give us some basic information on why we're here and what this basically is. So, what we're up for consideration is the 2025 Capital Improvements Plan. It's actually for fiscal year 2026, 2030. This is strictly advisory. The plan is intended for use as a capital facilities planning document. It's not a request for funding allocations or a county capital budget. It's intended for as a planning tool to assist the Board of Supervisors in the development of the county budget. I've already gone through that. Basically, as we know, the CIP is intended as a planning tool. Once the CIP is adopted, which we hope would be tonight, individual project priorities may change throughout the course of the year. It's quite possible that a certain project may not be funded during the year indicated on the CIP or even at all. We're here tonight, Section 15.22239 directs the Planning Commission to prepare this at the board's request. This is updated on an annual basis. The Planning Commission Capital Improvements Committee met November 20th to prioritize departmental requests as they were received. This plan is a result of this work and comes to the Commission with the CIP Committee's recommended prioritization. This is an update to the previously adopted Capital Improvements Plan and contains some new projects. Drop this. Oops, there we go. So the CIP plan was in your board packet. This has been, it went to the Planning Commission last month. Basically, I'm just going to scroll through to the prioritization list. These scores were based on the submittals. Some of these, there's a scoring listed in the back of the CIP document itself. The CIP committee scores it based on that criteria, and this is how the scoring came up. And at the bottom of this, there you see a few notes dealing with the some of these. If you have a grant, a certain request that's subject to a grant, the total cap project cost would reflect both the county and the state, or whoever's funding the other half of the project. So that would be a total cost, not less the grant money. And you can go through the whole document, and this gives details, as these are, all of these descriptions and information in these are copied and pasted directly out of the request from the different agency. So I can go through these. It may be best to let the board, turn this over to the board, let you guys discuss it, ask me questions, or however you want to go about it at this juncture.
And I have one little bit that I want to extend on Dave's remarks. We largely finished the draft plan to start the process with the Capital Improvements Committee, the Criteria Committee. Well, what do we call them, Dave?
The CIP committee?
CIP committee that ranks the projects. We
Right.
actually had the projects in and the plan finished to start that process, and then ultimately go to the planning commission the day Chip started work for us. So he didn't have a lot of hands-on this document. This is the last year that will happen, because Chip will probably lead a lot of that project next year. Dave is there to handle the process, but we want Chip's hands all over this thing next year. And I want to make sure I say that, because he caught a break. He started the day it was done.
Yeah, he dodged the bullet this year.
But, next year, this is all him. And I think you'll see a more robust, more nailed-down plan. It'll still be a planning document for sure, but
Yeah.
I don't think you'll see $66 million front-ended on 2026, including the high school, which they can't design and get started until 2028. I mean, they just can't. The 55 million estimate, yeah. So Chip and I had a brief conversation in my office today. I was on the phone with Dave about the plan, and I want the board to hear me say that this is something that Chip's going to take a more leadership role on next year.
And you have to understand, when the school submits that, this is taken directly from what the school submitted to me. I do not change anything, so, yeah.
No.
Dave called and talked to me about this.
Mhm.
I appreciate you doing so, and I appreciate everything you and your committee do. I think you do a good job. But if I was asked if this met my expectations, I would have to say no, it does not. One of the things that comes to mind as I look at it right away, and I think that there are a couple tools, that if you're gonna have Chip take it over, there's gonna be a couple tools that he's gonna need to help him with this. And correct me if I'm wrong, please, Chip. We need an asset management program. And we need for the departments that are submitting this to you, they have their goals and objectives. And then that is sent forward, and then it's compiled into the capital improvement projects, and you have your asset management program, because things I'm seeing in here are just really inconsistent. I mean, we're going to say that putting in a walking path is urgent, but it's just kind of necessary to replace the fire control unit for the school. What? How can we say that? The school by far. And I don't think it's being done because no one's paying attention. I don't think it's being done because the effort's not being put in there. I think it's being done because sometimes you need a new set of eyes and a new set of ears. And I know what you're saying about Chip being involved. I think that's 100%. I think that comes along with that position. But I think as a board, we have to give him and work to give him some tools to be able to help change some of this. I mean, the first thing on the list is the sewer. When we know that's delayed. That's just on there because it was on there last year. You know, it wasn't put in. But if we took this to the public and said that a walking path is more important to us than the fire suppression system at the school.
Which one is which? Is it urgent? Is that higher than necessary or necessary higher than urgent?
The St. Cloud Walker Fire Accessory Control Panel is necessary.
I know, but is necessary higher than urgent?
No, urgent's higher than necessary. And the walking
Yeah,
path is
urgent's
urgent.
higher than necessary.
The walking path is urgent.
Specifically to that one.
And we can probably go through here and pick some more. I don't think it's necessary to do it. We're here where we are now. I'm not gonna be able to support the way it is, but I think we have to move forward. we've got to do better next year. Dave, please, you do a good job, and I'm not saying anything, but we've got some new eyes and ears now, and I think we need to do a little bit better job
Bill,
with this.
I would just like to say, this is just a tool, and see, right today, we can move these things now, if we want to. Because basically, and just like you saying, right with the wastewater sewer collection, we can move that down somewhere else. And as a board, that's why it's a public hearing. And you might, just explain that to me, Dave, make sure I'm right. At times, we can move these around, right?
The board can fund whatever.
That's what I'm saying. We can prioritize and move
Yeah.
these now any way we want to, because it comes to us last.
Okay.
And that's why we're here with this. Because basically, they just did what they saw last year, basically.
Right.
And see, and it's up to us to look at it again and prioritize where we as a board collectively want stuff. And what makes sense to us.
And how are we going to do that?
Well, just like some of the things you're saying. I mean,
How are we going to prioritize them?
Well,
We have to have these tools in
yeah,
place to
but,
prioritize
yeah, I understand that, but what I'm saying, we know some things here are not right now, that we can change before it goes to a public hearing. And then this is what we decide, because really, this is just a tool. If we got the money there, we do it. If we don't want to do it, we don't do it. So it's just basically, in the day, it's just a tool of priorities, but it's not definitely a priority until we as a board have the money and decide what we as a board want to do. Is that right, Dave?
It's a list that gives you a basic idea what the price is. And
Right.
you'll probably shuffle the list up.
And that's it, and that's
Yeah,
it. And then
I mean,
we can move priorities. Just like now, if you want to say, hey, I want to put that fire panel #1, we can do it.
But based on what?
I don't know. I know what you're saying, but I'm seeing certain things like this. What I'm seeing in here, we
knock
can
the low-hanging
move some of
fruit
these
right out,
things.
But we,
Yeah.
but we have to have a reason that we do these things. Here we
I
go, the
understand
air
it.
conditioner needs to be replaced,
Right,
right?
right.
Okay, if we have an asset management program, that air conditioner was put in 20 years ago.
Right.
The manufacturer said it's gonna last for 30 years. So we're gonna schedule it to be replaced at 30 years. And guess what? Every air conditioner that the county owns is gonna be on that sheet, when it was in, what the manufacturer, and it stresses out. And that's how you start forming your CIP, because that air conditioner is running fine right now.
Oh, yeah.
We just know it might fail in the future, but if we have it documented, when the manufacturer says it's gonna fail and it's here, then that's gonna get moved to the CIP. This is a tool.
Yeah,
But
we
if
know.
I need a 9/16 wrench and you give me a 1/2 inch, I'm gonna have to beat the nut off there. It's not gonna go as easy. So we want to make this a document and a tool that will work for us, and
Right.
we'll have rationale of why it works for us. And you can ask Chip, how common is it to have an asset management program?
Yeah. No, I understand what you're
And
saying.
then
It's very,
that
very
plugs
important to
in,
do
that
that.
plugs into this. And we start moving on forward.
Right.
It's next level facilities management.
I mean, when I,
But it's
when I,
not written. This
when
is
I
not
first got
set in
here,
stone.
there were some things or whatever, and I remember you basically, I don't know how far you've gotten, but you basically started the process because you told me we're gonna start taking inventory of some of our generators. We're gonna take inventory of something else. That's the starting of the process. So we just need to jump on board a little bit more
Yeah.
diligence and keep on with it.
Right.
I am very confident that next year's capital improvements plan, you're going to find with a great favor. I've got a lot of confidence with the gentleman behind me. Yeah, but I do have to give you a little bit of history of this, and Dave, correct me if I'm wrong. The reason that path is urgent is because a couple board members said it's urgent. It was urgent at the time because somebody's going to get hurt, and yeah, I'm not making light of it. Y'all finally decide what's urgent and what's not. Y'all have final decision of what you pick and can afford to do on this plan. But I think, Wayne, you're right, and Bill, you're right. Both of you are right simultaneously. Where this thing needs to evolve to is with the expertise and the talent and with buildings and grounds support, we will have better facilities management that will feed into a more professionally done capital improvements plan. So it's still a plan, but it's more of a well-thought-out plan and not reacting to the latest.
Replacement of the financial software, we're already doing that.
Yeah, it's going to be on the plan until it's done.
So that should have been Man, okay.
Yeah, that need to be moved up. I mean, there's a lot of things need to be moved
Yeah.
around. I mean, that's all I'm
And,
just saying.
and I'm hearing what I would like to hear.
Right.
We're gonna do better.
We
And
are.
I do think we have someone on board that will help guide us, and very capable of putting some stuff like that together.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and Dave, like I say, top shelf, appreciate everything you do. We've just got another set of eyes and ears to help you.
We have good help, we have somebody that's
Yes.
capable, that
Yeah.
will make that document better.
We got to get our money's worth out of him. Water Authority will dominate him if we don't.
I'm quite confident. But like you said, some of these come from other departments that Chip might not have his fingers on. I don't know that you can have your fingers on everything. So
Well,
you're
we-
still gonna get some anomalies in some of these
We're gonna-
submittals that you're just not gonna be able to control.
When you see that, we're a small county, and you see that asset management, like a spreadsheet on steroids, you're gonna be like, this little county has all this? Oh my gosh. And you're gonna be surprised.
Okay, do we need any sort of approval tonight, or is it still a work in process? Pardon me?
Yeah, the board does have to, I'm sorry. The board does have to adopt the plan. They have to take action.
So we adopt a CIP plan, understanding there's gonna be some changes and/or additions and/or subtractions, I assume, at some point.
Probably primarily in the next document. This document's probably set for the most
Okay.
part. Unless we obviously find a typo or
Right.
something
And-
like that, we
And
would.
two, we can move some things around now
Okay.
if you want to, before you go to the public hearing on it.
Why did we put,
Well,
school renovation in 26?
But
That's the point we're trying to make. We don't, the submittals come from the different agencies and departments. So they, the schools set that in there. That's what they submitted. So,
Okay.
the cost, we didn't derive the cost. Our department didn't derive the $50 million for a school. So,
Right.
nor did it develop a
I
time
just wondered
schedule.
why it was in 26 as opposed to, realistically speaking, it'll be 27, 28.
Unless they want to start spending funds on it now for development. I don't know. That, I can't answer that question.
Okay.
One of the things that I think I would recommend Chip do when he starts this more robust capital improvements plan next year is start the process earlier and sit down with the departments and the school board and others and really spend more time with them on it. I'm being very diplomatic here. And I will say this, and this is something that it's kind of gotten out in the public wrong, and we do a horrible job of celebrating our successes. And it's not about downplaying our failures, but, the criticism about the sheriff's office renovation being on the capital improvements plan for years and not anything being done with it. Yeah. We had a capital improvements plan we did nothing with for 5 years when I was planning director because we had no money to do anything.
Yeah.
It just stayed on the plan forever. And then we also were promised asset forfeiture monies to help pay for said office that never came into being. That's why it stayed on the plan forever. The board couldn't afford to do it. Well, we're turning the corner, and, Bill, what you're saying is right on. Now we have the money to do things. Now we need to put a little bit more forethought into what we do, when, and why. And that's what that asset management and the facilities management that evolves into will evolve into giving us a better capital improvements plan next year.
Okay.
So it's recognized, and again, I got confidence in Chip and staff going to be able to turn that around for you.
And this is how strongly I feel about the asset management program. I would support some type of intern for the summer, maybe some college students in his second or third year, whatever Chip would feel comfortable with, to help him with the asset management program. Perfect. If you would be comfortable with doing that, Chip.
Yeah. We got office space.
I mean, I think that would help a lot, help speed it up, and you never know, hire someone to get an internship.
Maybe something, Sarah, the first step.
Yes. And if that person starts there, but I'd be willing to. Yeah. say you have my support if you decide you need an intern to help with it, so.
Okay. So a motion would be in order to approve the 26,
There's your,
30.
that's what you're approving. That helps it.
Yeah, Middlesex County Capital Improvements Plan 25, FY 26 to FY 30. With the understanding that that can change, and with the understanding that priorities can change, et cetera. Yeah. Okay, somebody want to make the motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Crittenden has made the motion. I need a second.
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Jesse, thank you very much. I know it's been a long day. Any other further discussion? Roll call, please.
I got a question.
Oh, yes, sir.
On your improvement plans that's being approved, I would like to see more information and reason why that organizations want to do improvement plan. So when it come to us, and we between the taxpayers, that's where we're at, and we have to approve a project based on information we have, we basically know nothing about it. It's probably gonna be one of the biggest ones on this list, that we don't have enough information to make a proper decision. And we're gonna go by, like I've said before, we're gonna go by, that's my buddy, that's what they say, I vote for it. And it had been like that in Middlesex County for a mighty long time. So I just would like to have more information on a project as why, justifying why we need to spend this money. Then I can see without researching myself. If I research it myself, I come with one idea. Bill might come with another idea. And I like to see an organization, regardless of what it is, to do research. Because just like you said earlier, we renovated the sheriff's office, down at the Puller Center. That was not the number one way to do it, because we didn't, but we did it. We accepted after it got out, but we didn't go through what Bill is talking about when you're kind of like researching the project and all this kind of stuff. Now it's gonna cost us $5 million instead of, adding that piece like Wayne wanna do on the one over there. I ain't say that.
Okay. Well noted. Any other discussion? Roll call, please. On the motion?
Mr. Crittenden,
Yes.
Mr. Jesse,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Bill Harris,
No.
Mr. Don Harris.
Yes, motion's carried.
Vote no just the way I used to vote no for everything.
So we need to have, Mr. Chairman, if you would, please, I'd ask that you, going back to the agenda, we need item number 13, a public comment period. And then if the board wishes, we can return back to closed session with the appropriate motion.
I'll open the floor for public comment. Seeing none, I'll close the floor for public comment. Now, next agenda item, do y'all want to meet for a couple more minutes on closed session? All right.
All right, so with that, Mr. Chairman, and for the non-members of the public, we'll be reconvening in closed session in this room. We need a motion to convene in closed session pursuant to Code Sections 2.2-3711A3 and A8. This is for the discussion of the acquisition of real property for a public purpose where discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the board's bargaining position and negotiating strategy, and so that the board may consult with legal counsel regarding specific legal questions about the acquisition of said property.
Somebody needs to make that motion
So
for me.
moved.
Thank you, Mr. Jesse.
Second.
Second by Mr. Crittenden. We are now in closed session. Oh, sorry, roll call.
Mr. Jesse,
Aye.
Mr. Williams. Mr. Bill Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Crittenden,
Yes.